How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the stream. Hope everyone's having a nice Saturday. I'm just gonna tweet this link out real quick. Um, Watching some nique Clifford film, and also gonna catch a Kobe Sanders game because he's a kind of sleeper who I've seen rising a little bit in circles and people liking, and I have zero opinion on him. So excited to dive in and get a little bit of a first look at him while watching as well. Nique Clifford, one of my faves, has been one of my faves for quite some time. So I'm excited to watch some Nique Clifford. Like I said, certainly one of my guys in this draft. But
Mike Littlewood, Amy Bonner.
There we go. But yeah, hope everyone's having a nice day. It's a nice rainy Saturday here. But yeah, nique Clifford. I think. Wait, which one is Kobe Sanders? I need to make sure I know who I'm actually watching. Kobe is 8. All right, so it looks like we're gonna get the Kobe Sanders versus nique Clifford match. Let me just start a new note for this. All right, let's get into it. But yeah, hope everyone's having a nice day. I'm very excited for the game 7. I was like Nick Davidson is an interesting player, but very excited for the game 7 today and tomorrow. But hoping my Pacers can pull off an upset win over the Cavs. Not holding my breath or anything. Ooh, nice rotation by Sanders right there. Let me go back and watch that. It's number 8. And nice long rotation here to contest a shot. I like that a lot. And then nique just swinging the ball over. But yeah, nique is awesome. I think nique is like a easy top 20 pick who I'd feel okay about taking even higher depending on the team. He's just a really fucking talented player, like really good basketball player. But yeah, I'm glad we're getting the matchup of the two prospects that I wanted to watch in this game. Great pass by Sanders as well. Nice quick out, and then a deflection by nique, deflection by Sanders. All right. I like that pass by Kobe Sanders. Let me go back and watch that little second side screen. Yeah, really quick out, just immediately on the catch, passes it down. Obviously, doesn't end up, resulting in an assist or anything like that. But good play, good play. Yeah, very, very interested to see how nique, assuming he would kind of reverts back to his like defensive intensity from previous seasons when he doesn't have like crazy usage at the NBA level. Because he obviously has great defensive tools, and I've liked him on defense, especially on the ball, a lot throughout his career. But let's see what nique's got. I know this is a good box score game for both nique and Sanders, so hoping the box score doesn't mislead us. Good D right there. Nique still getting down. Good finish right there. It's a tough finish. It's like great job keeping his balance, keeping his poise under the basket. Good stuff there from nique. Good stuff. But yeah, like I said, I have zero opinion on Kobe Sanders. I know just about nothing about him, but I know people like him, and I know I've seen some hype. So let's see what we got. I've enjoyed him so far. So good finish by Davidson. I always like watching Colorado State too. They run a nice offense. See if we get a double ball screen, maybe double ball screen here. Nique kicking it over. I don't know if that's gonna count as an assist. Yo, Eric, how's it going? Watching some prospect stuff as usual. Ray coming around that screen. Going from watching NBA basketball to watching college basketball is always such whiplash. Even like, yeah, crazy how low quality this is compared to obviously like NBA, but playoff NBA basketball is obviously crazy. But good screen navigation right there by nique. Let's look back there. Yeah, nique easy. I mean, he's like so agile and can like get through these tight spaces. Part of what makes him a great on-ball defender, and just rips through. Looks like Sanders able to get a little bit of separation, but just can't finish the inside hands right there. But great screen nav from nique right there, as usual. But yeah, I will be figuring out my thoughts on Kobe Sanders throughout. Nique, step back three. Okay, nique. Okay, nique. Yeah, he definitely. Yo, how's it going? I or LLL or one. I don't know exactly what your name is, but how's it going? Hope you're having a nice Saturday. Love watching Nique Clifford score the basketball. More empty ball screens. Looks like I'm liking the processing from Sanders throughout this start. Seems to be good fadeaway right there. But seems to be making quick decisions with the ball. Yeah, I mean just like quick out. Are any Derek Whites in this draft? Probably not. There usually aren't. What, just in terms of like an older player who ends up being a star? Like, I mean, nique is probably my best. Oh my goodness, what a pass! Wait, nique is probably my best bet. Beautiful. Wow, that is a gorgeous pass. That just did not. Yeah, nique's been awesome to start this game. Did I like the Colts draft? No, I did not like the Colts draft. I'm not a Tyler Warren guy. I hope I'm wrong. But the first round tight end thing for a roster like the Colts that's still pretty bad, and not bad, but far away, just doesn't really excite me that much, especially for a guy who most people seem to describe as like a high floor, well-rounded contributor. It's just like not an exciting use of a top 14 pick. I mean, the rest of the picks seem fine. Like JTT seems like he's going to be a fine rotational edge. I love the Giddens pick on day 3. That was great. But otherwise, like they reached on like a nickel, on like a short nickel. I hope not, man. They reached on like a short nickel in the 3rd round. I don't know. Only drafted one offensive lineman, which scares me. How's it going, Tulip? I did not catch the preseason game. I saw the one clip of Kiki and Sophie Cunningham, but I did not catch any of that game this morning. No. Good D right there by Sander. Yeah, Mystics Fever. I'm excited for the regular season to start, though. That's going to be fun. Let's see what Nique's got running the little side pick and roll. Hits the post. Always interesting projecting these like guys who, well, yeah, I mean, it's like Nique just like facing up, off balance, fadeaway mid range. Yeah, Nique has been ridiculous in this game so far, as he often is. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, I saw the thoughts on Sellers getting cut. I mean, her knee must just be like totally cooked. Is I feel like the only takeaway there, right? Like it sucks. I hate it. Yeah, I mean her knees must just be Swiss cheese. Like that's the only way. That makes sense, which is so sad. Hopefully she just gets a chance eventually in her career. She can get healthy and, make it back, because she is just so talented. Like it, I don't think it's it's an on-court thing. Like she's incredibly talented. But yeah, must just be like her medicals must be like Mark Williams level bad. Like Greg Oden, I don't know. Yeah, playing injured is tough. I mean, it's just tough because obviously all the players want to play regardless of their health status, and like teams aren't gonna generally let them do that. But yeah, it's tough. Don't get me started on Williams. If he makes feeling better, I don't think the Lakers would have like won the Wolves series with Mark Williams. Where am I watching? I assume you're asking where I'm watching this game. If so, I unfortunately do not have a public source anymore for these games that I can share. But do I view Nique as a day one starter on some teams? Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously, depending on the team, but I could definitely see Kobe losing the ball. Yeah, I could definitely see Nique starting day one on teams. I mean, he's just like I expect him to shoot off the catch. His defense should be good. And even if he's not going to be like a primary in the league, I expect his ball skills and passing to translate in a smaller role. Like it wouldn't make sense for them to just like totally go away. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in Nique's ability to good screen into a dunk right there. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in Nique's ability to be a early starter in his career. I mean that's part of the main appeal of him. I think like he's just the guy who I expect to contribute early. I mean he had like 24 at the draft day, so like it makes sense. You want a guy you're drafting at that age to be contributing right away. And I think Nique certainly will be contributing right away at that age. I just wish I could have him higher, but what a pass. Oh my goodness. Wait. What a look. How the hell did he get that? This is like not the best drive in the world. Kind of got stonewalled, caught in midair. There's no fucking way that pass should have got through. But it did. but it did. Thoughts on Sorber? I really like Sorber. Sorber's great. I think he's a pretty safe. Also, really good defense here by nique against a bigger guy. Just like even though he gets scored on here, like you can very clearly see like how quick his feet move, how quick he covers ground. Like I like him trying to like pull the chair almost against Davidson, and ends up not working. That's a great finish. But yeah, I just trust Sorber to be like a real contributor, honestly. Like he's a great offensive player. I like his paint defense a lot, and I think he's a really good, like drop defender, rim protector. He's not like a super mobile guy, Sorber that is, but I think he can like kind of switch a little bit. You don't want him like playing high up at the level or like covering ground, and I think that's going to limit his defensive ceiling for sure. But good kick out by nique. But I just expect Sorber to be like a very good starting center on a great team, and I think that's very valid. Yeah, I'm not gonna address the CMB Mobley comparisons. Yeah, I don't know. People love their like physical tools, theoretical upside guys. Like that's just a philosophy difference. I don't know. Like people really value like the physical traits and yeah, just like the athletic flashes, I guess. And that's not something I tend to value a ton. But yeah, I certainly don't agree with the draft Twitter consensus, I guess, on Asengwe and Murray Boyles. I mean, I'm closer to draft Twitter consensus on CMB. I do think CMB is pretty great. Okay, let's go. Kobe Sanders back in the game. Hasn't been much from him in this game so far. I mean, he had a couple nice plays in his first stint, but hoping we can get some more good moments from him in this second stint on the floor. Hey Camille, how's it going? Kobe Sanders getting through that screen. Let's see what he can do bringing the ball up the floor. Convince me while we're all not going to look dumb for not ranking Adu Thiero highly. You see Chris Dunn in the playoffs this year? that's about it. I mean, obviously different players, but like really hard to be a high level role player contributor without any semblance of an outside shooting threat. Obviously Thiero has like differences about him that could make him not like a Chris Dunn type thing, but yeah, I mean, I like Thiero. Like, I don't think he's a bad prospect by any means. I think he's pretty good, honestly. But his college Chris Dunn certainly could. I mean, NBA Chris Dunn can, but college Chris Dunn certainly did. I mean, I agree Thiero's driving and like the slashing stuff is very good, but like I understand being high on Thiero. I just don't think a guy with no real shooting projection and low feel in my estimation. And like he's a very good defender, but I don't think he's like a special defender. Like, do you prefer Thiero or Ryan Dunn? Like, I also don't think Kuminga is a good point to make if you're trying to be optimistic about Thiero. Like I feel like Kuminga is a great example of like a big physical toolsy guy who just doesn't have any real value to good teams at like the highest levels of basketball. Which is ultimately my worry with Thiero. Like I just don't value these athletic tools guys as much as some people. But I do like Thiero. Yeah, his feel isn't as bad as Kuminga's. That's definitely true. But I don't think his feel is good. I certainly think I would characterize it as pretty poor. And his defense, like I said, very good, but like not special to me. So yeah, I like Thiero, but I don't buy him as like a. I mean, I don't know how high you are on him, but he's fine to me as like a mid-late first round guy. But I wouldn't take him much higher. Beringer or Zakarsky? Definitely Zakarsky. I don't view Beringer as a real prospect. Whereas Zakarsky, I think, very clearly has avenues to be at least pretty easily visible avenues to being a good NBA player. But yeah, I don't think Beringer is a prospect. Carter Bryant in the lottery, a little rich for me, but I mean, I think like late lottery for Carter is okay. Yeah, I think late lottery for Carter is fine personally. Like I wouldn't take him that high, but I get it. I've seen a little like top 10 plus buzz for Carter, which seems just quite rich for somebody who is a pure like play finisher to me on offense. But I do like Carter Bryant, and like I understand being high on him. He is a crazy impressive defensive player. And the shooting is really nice. Like I think there's an easy world where you can imagine Carter developing into like a really solid contributor on a good team. What don't I buy about Beringer defensively? Just in my watches has seemed completely clueless in terms of like feel and positioning and awareness. And I know he's young, but he's also short too. He's like a short center who doesn't have any idea how to play, it seems. Um like I could be interested in Beringer after like in like a couple years maybe after just like more time playing in Europe, but I would certainly have no interest in drafting him this year. I mean, I'm sure some team will just like swing on a draft and stash, but I almost certainly I think Beringer's listed at 6'9" without shoes. I don't think he's 6'11" at all, personally. I mean, if I just based on looking at him on tape, he looks short to me. Like he doesn't look big, and yeah, he's listed at 6'9", I believe. But yeah, no, I don't buy. Like again, I mean, I guess another one of these like athletic toolsy guys who I'm fading. I just don't have a ton of interest in. But I mean, I still do want to watch more Beringer. I think I've only watched like 4 of his games from this season, and they were all really, really bad. Yeah, I could see. No way, it's international pop star Carly Rae Jepsen. That's crazy. Yeah, I could totally see Carter Bryant being a Spurs guy. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. Drake Powell, I certainly would not take Drake Powell in the first round. I mean, if we're going to keep talking about these toolsy, athletic, up kind of development projects, like I think Powell is more interesting than some of them because I do think he has some other legit skills. Like his passing flashes to me are pretty solid this year. His like bend and flexibility could make him a really intriguing, like, driving guy down the line. Great awareness by Nique picking up that. But, I mean, honestly, I'd be okay with Drake Powell in, like, the late first. Like, if a team took Drake Powell in the late first, like, I don't know, like Brooklyn or something with the intention to just, like, basically redshirt him and keep working on his development, I'm okay with that. Like I probably wouldn't take Powell that high if like I was the one in charge of making the pick, but I understand it, and it wouldn't be a pick that I like hated so much, especially if you're a team that has like a good plan for him and knows how to develop these toolsy guys. Broom versus Kalkbrenner versus Reno. Kalkbrenner and Broom I mean, I don't think Reno is draft. I wouldn't draft Reno personally. I just think his defense is too bad and the shooting is too theoretical for me. But Broom versus Kalkbrenner is interesting. I think I'd prefer Kalk just because he has the real like NBA size, like legit 7'1", 7'2", and just a very good player. Like I'm getting pretty in on Kalkbrenner. Like I'd have no issue with the team taking Kalkbrenner in like the early 20s. Just because like good center play is so valuable. And I think Kalk can legit be like a contributing low end, low to mid end starter on a good team at the center spot, which is really valuable. And I'm less sure of that for Broom, even though Broom definitely is more skilled, is a better shooting better passer than Kalkbrenner. I kind of view them in a similar range, though. It's like I think it's just like a flavor type thing for Broom versus Kalkbrenner. Like if you're a bigger roster that can maybe afford to give up some size in term for Broom's like skill and his connecting feel and like some of the shooting he's shown, I think that's fine. But again, I think there's certain, generally in a vacuum, I'd prefer just the bigger guy who I trust more to defend the basket. And that's definitely Kalkbrenner. Yeah, Broom's another guy who like I wouldn't take in the first round, but I understand it. Great pass by Kobe. Great steal by Nique. This is okay. Really enjoying Kobe Sanders' passing in this game. Quick closeout attack, but then Nique just great hands right there, ripping the ball out. But yeah, Nique has been stellar in this game, as usual. Yeah, I definitely prefer Kalk to Broom. That's for sure. But it's a really weak center class after, like, I mean, like Malawash and Sorber are both great, but once you get beyond the lottery, it's like it's scary hours for teams that want centers. Like you can take, which is why I could totally see guys like Kalk or like even like Reno getting quote unquote overdrafted because there really just are not a lot of true center options. And so many of the big men in this class are like short. Yeah, Penda's lottery range for me has been for a while now. Just like a really impressive athlete, high feel, really great defensive player. I like his passing a lot. I've always liked his like strength creation flashes. Good drive here by Sanders again, looks like. But yeah, no, I think Penda's really good. I mean, he's a phenomenal way. I'll do more content on him for sure. I have a video on him that I think kind of nicely demonstrates the reasons that I'm high on him. But he's a really good player. I mean, just such an effective, already like a elite defender in the French league as a 20-year-old, and has improved on offense since the last couple of years. Just a really damn good player who I have a lot of trust in being like a high level role player starter on winning teams. Like don't necessarily know if Penda's going to be like a star, but I think he's one of the two or three best defensive prospects in this class, which is very valuable to me with enough like projectable offensive stuff. Clifford going to travel there. Phenom, I didn't watch him at all this year, so I'm not gonna have a good take on that question. But I liked Theom in high school. I always thought he was a fairly underrated high school prospect. So it certainly wouldn't like totally shock me. But I'll have a good pull up shooting from Kobe standards. Do I like Cardwell? Haven't really thought about him as like an NBA prospect much, but he's pretty solid. I mean, he's like a crazy athlete, decently smart with the ball. Like it wouldn't totally shock me if Cardwell was like a depth rotation big. He's someone I'll probably end up ranking. He's solid. I don't mind him. Penda over a Sangwe for sure to me. Absolutely. I just think he's so much more actual talent or so much more offensive talent there. Defensively, I think Penda is significantly better. And like not that different. I think Asengwe gets billed as this like elite special athlete when I certainly don't agree with that. Like he's a very, very, very good athlete, like super impressive physical tools, crazy fluid, pretty quick off the floor, but I don't think he's like a special athlete. And I think Penda shares a lot of the traits that make Asengwe great, like fluidity as a mover. Penda's got great length and strength as well. Khan versus Phylon. I'd probably take Khan in most situations. I'm trying to think of a situation where I'd rather have Khan than Phylon. Or I'd rather have Phylon than Khan. Maybe if you're like really, really yeah, I saw the Samuelson ACL tear. That's a bummer. I'm trying to think of a situation where I'd prefer Phylon. I don't know. Maybe if I like really, really trust, really trust my ability to like improve his scoring. But I like Phylon a lot. I've just gotten really high on Knipple. So I think I like he to me is just like such a good bet to be a great player, and I think also has like much more star upside than people give him credit for because he's not like a traditional run jump athlete, which is something that I've talked about plenty. But thanks Tula for the promo. I think Young's all right. He's interesting. I mean, not someone I'd probably draft before like the mid to late second round, but someone I could see getting a bump because of the center class. And I mean, he's pretty skilled. Like he's got decent mobility. Seems like a guy who could be like a decent rotation big if things break right, but but not someone who I necessarily think of as like a lock NBA guy by any means. Kobe. Thoughts on Yaxel? Pretty intriguing. I hope he doesn't go back to Michigan just because this draft needs him. I don't love his offense. Yaxel, that is. Yeah. I don't love Yaxel's offense. Like I don't really know exactly what he does on the offensive end in the NBA. Like he's like a pretty solid athlete, but he was like very overextended as a creator this year at UAB, which is like expected. That's what most of these guys are. Like that's not a I don't love his decision making as a driver, but I think he's like a really good off-ball passer. Like processing on the short roll stuff is good. I mean, just like so many of these guys for Yaxel, it's probably going to depend a lot on the shot. But I do think even without like a great jumper, I can imagine him being pretty impactful as just like a rotational forward defender type player. Let's see, where do I have Yaxel ranked right now? I actually don't. I don't even remember. Yeah, I have Yaxel as like an early mid second round guy. That sounds right. But shout out to there there was one guy on my TikToks like 2 years ago who would always be like, "Do a Yaxel Lendeborg breakdown," before, like, anybody had heard of him. So shout out to that guy for for calling his shot on Yaxel and getting it pretty right, honestly, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been consistent. I mean, look, like, the shooting I'd also I'd also always add I'd also always add advantage creation into that bucket, just like being able to generate easy looks without a screen against switching defenses, against a different level of cover, like different kinds of coverages. But yeah, I mean, obviously strength and size and feel and shooting can like aid advantage creation, or like all these traits overlap and like don't exist in a vacuum. Um, looks like Kobe. Looks like not the greatest athlete in the world, pretty below the rim on these finishes. Yeah, exactly. I think advantage creation is really important for everyone. Like it's obviously important for on-ball guys for obvious reasons, but yeah, I mean it's important for role guys too. It's to be able to yeah, attack closeouts, move in space, like be good. I think good off-ball movement is always valuable and something that a lot of the great playoff role players, your Caruso's, your Naz Reeds, like are so great at. Do you think Carter can attack closeouts? I mean, certainly not at the moment at an NBA level, at an NBA like playoff level, like, but maybe he could develop it in the future. Yeah, yeah, no, that's I mean, that's part of my worry with Carter is I just don't know what he does on offense unless the shooting is, like, really, really good, which is possible. I mean, he has an impressive shooting projection, and he's a great, like, low usage play finisher, but, yeah, I am concerned about his off Spurs. I mean, it's part of why I wanted to see, it's part of why I wanted to see Carter go back to school and why I still kind of hope he goes back to school, even though I'm sure he won't, considering the kind of buzz he's getting. Like, I would want to see him next year at Arizona with more usage, right? Just like to see what he can do. Because I don't want to be the team that takes him in the top 10 and he can't really do much with expanded usage. And I feel like that's kind of a wasted pick. But I don't know. Maybe if you're really confident, like if a team is really confident in their ability to develop his handle. But yeah, I think it's hard to like. I think Carter's gonna have to be a pretty good handler, right? Because he's not like in a like he doesn't do much else on offense outside of just finishing. He has some like nice passing, like a couple passing flashes, Carter that is, but they're obviously very inconsistent and just like only flashes. Like it's not something he's doing consistently just because he doesn't have the ball consistently, right? Like, but yeah, I am not super confident in Carter returning like the top 10 value that um the the top 10 value that he's getting mocked as. I do understand it somewhat, but yeah, his stock is getting a little rich for my blood. Good block by Nique. Great. Nique's hands are so good. Hands are so damn good. Do you think a Caden Lewis could be a lottery talent? Possible. I'm not sure. Maybe. Um, certainly very, very talented with the basketball. Like, if he ends up shooting really well at Villanova, I could see it, especially just because like there's not going to be a ton of talent in his way, right? Like yeah, he's just not going to really have a ton of obstacles to playing. Yeah, I kind of used to feel that way about creators and like scalability. I feel like a lot of times that's just like missing the forest for the trees and undervaluing talented players because of a lack of imagination. Like, I think Fears can very easily fit around high level talent because he should be a shooter and he's a great driver and he can pass. Like, I just see it. I mean, I think the concerns with Fears are more like you need to have a you're probably going to need to have like a pretty robust defensive infrastructure to like to make that work, but I don't think the offense is something I have any concerned about. um I think if he becomes Fox, that's a great outcome. Fox was a very similar process. Was Fox? I don't know if I think Fox was a better prospect than Fierce. That's actually a good. I think they're similar. Um, I don't think him getting traded for nothing is a reflection of him. I think it's a reflection of the terrible franchise he was drafted to. Um, well, like I just think I don't agree with that as an example for like not for trying to because he never had a good roster around him and he had a bad GM his entire career. And he's probably going to be great with the Spurs. Like I feel like we saw a lot of good stuff with. I mean, he barely got to play with Wemby. Um, so yeah, I just don't agree at all with using that as a reason to like fade short guards who are high level initiator prospects. Like obviously you'd love to get like a big, big initiator, wing creator. Like that's obviously the goal, but there's only so many of those players in the league. And you have to still get initiators and real handlers. Like I think Fears would be so good on it. Like Fears on the Rockets to me would just be perfect. Like they so badly need him. I think no, I think Fox had some years of being like a real legit all-star guy. He was again. I I don't. I mean, I think Fox and Wemby clearly seemed to have good synergy in the games they played. I mean, they were great pick and roll partners. Yeah, I just very strongly disagree with this premise. Like, I think, and again, like if you're taking Fox, like you're not going to be upset using like the fifth pick on a guy who ends up being De'Aaron Fox. Like it's simply just like build better around a player like that. Um, yeah, just like build better. And again, like I never believe in using single player examples to dissuade or persuade to draft a single prospect. Like it's just there's too many confounding variables and like again, considering that prospects have variable ranges of outcomes that they can hit regardless of the outcome they end up actually hitting. Um, yeah, exactly. Like if you're drafting Fears fifth over, like the idea that Fox can't or like not even Fox, like a player like Fox can't be a critical part of a championship winning team just because they haven't is totally insane to me.
And I think like there is one team every year that wins the title. There are two that make the finals, and it is really hard to do that. And I think people focus way too much on the teams and the types of teams that make those runs. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be hard to fit stuff around Fierce. I just don't really understand that at all because he's going to be a shooter and he's he's going to be totally good driving off the ball. Handle is a very scalable trait. Like it's important for off ball guys. Like I just very much don't understand the idea that. Yeah, we just like fundamentally disagree on De'Aaron Fox in this discussion, but that's fine, obviously. And even then, I don't think the Fox point is relevant regardless. Who's your all-time how is he rated this low prospect? Probably Maxey. The Maxey shit was asinine in 2020. I wrote an article back in 2020 where I was like positing a case for Maxey as the number one guy in that class, which was obviously a bit aggressive and hasn't, he isn't the best guy from his class, but I'd say he's top 3 or 4, probably. But yeah, I was so high on Tyrese Maxey, and it was so crazy to me that people were just. I mean, it was mostly like mainstream media early in the year. Philip, I'll scroll up and look at it. I mean, trading. I mean, lame answer. I guess just depends on what you're getting for the pick. Like if you can package it for like a legit on-ball creator, I think that's fine. I just don't really know who's going to be available. Like maybe you can go get like LaMelo or something if he's going to get out. Like maybe you can get Trey. I'd definitely be open to moving that pick. Like I wouldn't be married to keeping that pick. Even though I do think there's like really good players that the Rockets can add and that would really help their foundation, but it's like, yeah, I mean, this is a team that I think is getting close to the point where they're like a legit creator, viable, high usage handler away from really contending. Great drive by Nique, so fast. So point being, I would again, like I think a player like Jeremiah Fears would be so good in Houston if he ends up hitting his ceiling. But in terms of most valuable, what's your order for the Rockets players? I mean, I think Amen and Şengün are clearly 1 and 2. I'd probably prefer. I mean, just long term, I think I'd value Amen above Şengün, and I think that's probably like consensus opinion, honestly. But definitely Amen and Şengün as the 2 most valuable pieces on that roster. I think very obviously. Yeah, I saw that trade that I just have no idea why the Pelicans would do that. It just seems like unless it's just like a gigantic haul of picks. And I'm not sure the Bucks they probably would, honestly. But yeah, I think you just need like a gigantic haul of picks if you're the Pelicans. I don't know. I get that they're going to move off of Zion probably for like ownership demands or whatever. I mean, I think that's just insanely stupid. But I mean, it's whatever. It's probably going to happen, even if I think it's an insanely dumb decision. But that's just teams operate how teams operate. Would I do Green, Whitmore, JSJ 25 lotto pick plus 3 swaps package for Booker? Probably. Yeah, I'd say so. I think that's fair. I very much like Booker as like a second. Why is this film not playing? I don't know why this isn't working. But why is this not working? I probably do need to end this stream off soon anyway. So, anyone has any last questions or thoughts they want to get off before we end the stream? But do I think the G League Ignite bottlenecked a bunch of players' development with how it was run? My G League Ignite hot take is that people think it did way more damage than it actually did, and a lot of the Ignite prospects are going to be totally fine, and there is basically zero correlation between G League Ignite and like prospects failing. And that I think it's if anything, it was Ignite picking a certain type of like real hooper prospect versus not Ace Bailey, Jalen Green 2.0 on offense. I've seen that concern. I've seen that comparison a couple times, and I think it makes very little sense, to be perfectly honest. Both of them, I mean, have some feel issues, but I just see them as totally different roles. I think Ace's floor is much, much higher because of the shooting. But yeah, I'm going to end off this stream. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out and watching some basketball. I think Ace's defense is going to be very good, is my thought. But anyways, have a nice day, everyone.